What's up, guys? So today, guys, I'm going to be reacting to 10 biggest NFL names that is most likely to be cut this offseason. Let's go.
The first major wave of 2023 NFL roster cuts took place leading up to the opening of free agency. Well, the draft is over and training camp is coming right up, meaning the next busy period of roster cuts is just around the corner. With the draft now behind us, we have a pretty good idea as to which players are in real danger of losing their roster spots. Now, before we start here, just a note that contract numbers and details are courtesy of OverTheCap.com. So, with that said, let's dive into the 10 biggest NFL names who are in danger of getting cut.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook? Why would he get cut? I'm going to say something. If the Vikings don't want him on the roster, they're going to get some stuff for him. They are going to get some draft picks, some players. They're not going to cut him because if they cut him, they get nothing for it. They can get some stuff for it, Dalvin Cook. So if they don't,
subject to trade rumors since the beginning of the offseason, and it's mostly because of his mammoth contract. In 2020, Cook was handed a 5-year extension worth $63 million. With 3 years remaining on Cook's deal, the Minnesota Vikings might find it difficult to pass on the opportunity to save a lot of money. Cutting Cook would save the Vikings $9 million in cap space, and a trade would save them $11 million. As good as Cook is, his high cap hit is hard to swallow at the running back position.
Because if you saw what happened with Ezekiel Elliott, he was one of the best players in the NFL. He constantly got 1,000 rushing yards in a season. And then if you saw what happened to him, he became older during his contract. So he became as great of a player as he was before, which, if you're an NFL player, you can't have, if you're a running back, teams have to know, if you're an NFL team, you have to know you can't pay a running back that much money for that many years.
Today's NFL. Cook has recorded 4 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards rushing. But this is a pass-first Minnesota offense led by Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and rookie Jordan Addison. Plus, backup running back Alexander Mattison is more than capable of filling in the lead back role, and at a fraction of the price of Cook. Remember, this current Vikings brass wasn't here when Minnie handed Cook the $63 million extension, so they don't owe him any loyalty. With the way his contract is structured, 2023...
Guys, so it's like, are you willing to keep your running back? Are you willing to keep your star running back, one of the best running backs in the NFL? But you have to pay him so much money just for him to stay there. Like, that's one of the things they're wondering. But they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him if they don't. Guys, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it once. If they don't want him on the roster, they are going to trade him. Pretty obvious. They're going to trade him. They could get more players. They could get money, draft picks. And also, they could get so much. They could also save more money. I'm so smart. Like, it's pretty obvious that if they don't want him on the roster, they're not going to cut him.
Cut ties with Cook and save money. Whether or not they actually do that is another story, of course. David Bakhtiari. Packers entering a retooling year. It makes sense for Brian Gutekunst to cut any aging veterans he doesn't see as part of the long-term picture. Well, the worst kept secret in Titletown is that Bakhtiari is nearing the very end of his tenure with the Cheeseheads. The Pack can see.
Okay, if you guys want to know, David Bakhtiari, if you search it up, David Beckham. I don't want David Bakhtiari. I don't want David Beckham. David Bakhtiari. If you look at his age, he's 31. And that's one of the older NFL players. Like, it's starting to get pretty obvious that he's getting up there in age for an NFL player. So that's one of the things that they're going to have to look at. Hey, is he old? Is he too old? Do we not want him on our team? It's that stuff. Like, it's one of those things where, yes, he might be a star player, but is he too old? Like, is he too old? Like, is he getting up there in age where you don't want him to, be on your team? And obviously, if they are going to cut him or trade him, one of the two, if they're going to cut him or trade him, they better do it now. Because if they cut him or trade him, then they could actually get stuff from it. But if they keep him and they realize, A, he isn't that good, we don't want him, then it depends on, they might only have to cut him. They might not even be able to trade him for some decent value. But that's something that they're going to have to do. I mean, if you're the Packers, I hate to say this because I'm a Bears fan. I hate you, Packers. I hate the Packers. But you're going to have to trade Bakhtiari or cut him. I hope you cut him because they don't want you guys to get anything for him.
Whopping $17.5 million if they release a 32-year-old defensive tackle who played just 24 games over the last
31 or 32.
Or, in an ideal world,
he's also
find a taker for the 3-time first-team All-Pro and get something for him on the trade market. The healthy Bakhtiari could make a difference somewhere, and he should even be motivated to pursue a championship elsewhere in the final stretch run of his career. The Packers are usually very good at knowing when it is time.
But they're in a rebuilding, because I feel like if you trade Aaron Rodgers, I hate Aaron Rodgers because I've said this a lot in my videos. I think I say it too much, but I'm a Bears fan. So I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm probably going to hate him, yes, because he's not on the Packers anymore. But, I feel like when Aaron Rodgers left, I feel like they basically just started rebuilding.
Given Bakhtiari's age, injury history, and enormous cap hit, why wouldn't they want to cut ties now? It just makes way too much sense for these two sides to just move on at this point. Joe Mixon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In 2022, he likely would have hit 1,000 yards rushing for the fourth time in his career. 14 games, he still finished with 814 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and 1,255 total yards of offense. But with the likes of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase soon needing massive extensions, the Bengals will need to free up every dollar that they can. Releasing Mixon saves...
Yeah, because they have Burrow, which he's going to get paid a lot. They have Chase, Boyd, Higgins. They're all going to get... But if you look at Boyd's age, they're going to... If you look at Tyler Boyd's age. If you look at his age, he's like 6 years into this NFL or something. So if he is 28, obviously that's pretty young. T. Higgins 24. So that's pretty young too. Jamar Chase, 23. Joe Mixon, 26 years old. That is kind of old for a running back. I hate to say it, but that's kind of old for a running back. If you think about it, that's kind of old for a running back because if you look at and then if you look at Joe Burrow's age, he's obviously, he's obviously pretty young. Joe Burrow's obviously pretty young. He's 26. But, obviously, they're going to have to pay him. They're going to have to pay him. So, that's one of the things. I feel like they're going to have to cut one or two. So I feel like they're going to have to cut Boyd, Mixon to keep up with all their other stars. Mixon and Boyd are kind of stars too, but they have to keep up with their best stars.
Well, since he has good reason to cut the cord now. Many actually thought that the Bengals would waste no time cutting Mixon once the new league year began. But here we are, post-draft, and he remains atop the running back depth chart. At least for now. Cincinnati used a 5th-round draft choice on Illinois product Chase Brown, who had nearly 1,900 yards of offense in his final year of college. So, yeah, pretty sure he'd be up for a workhorse role if the Bengals wanted to hand it to him. Like Cook, Mixon wouldn't have that problem generating lots of interest on the open market. But it's not hard to find good running backs anymore, and the Bengals can easily get by without him. Patrick Queen. The Baltimore Ravens declined the fifth-year option.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, though.
Their nice way of telling them it's now or never. But what if never comes before now? That is, what if the Ravens decide to cut ties with Queen before week 1? Surprisingly, it's not out of the question. It just felt like a perfect fit.
So Patrick Queen, get to know him. If you get to know him, this is from their draft night. This is from his draft night. He selected 28th overall, I believe, in the draft. But if you get to know him, hometown, whatever, or Venture, I can't pronounce that name. Named after your dad's best friend who passed away from leukemia. I think it's a cancer, right? I'm sorry if it isn't. I think it's a cancer, right? Was an all-state running back as senior. As an all-state running back as senior in high school, and obviously this is Patrick Queen. Hit 380 for a baseball team as senior in high school. So obviously athletic.
Ravens landed the workhorse LSU linebacker 28th overall in the 2000.
But they only selected him in 2020. So it's like he hasn't been in the NFL for that long. So honestly, I feel like they have to keep him for 1 or 2 more years to keep him to see if it, because he's so young. He isn't that old. So it's like they have to keep him for 1 or 2 more extra years, and then they decide, hey, is he not good for our team?
NFL draft, but he hasn't been much of a playmaker at the professional level, and Queen has especially been a giant liability in coverage. Queen has just 10 sacks through 3 seasons and earned a Pro Football Focus grade of below 50 in his rookie and sophomore seasons. And per Pro Football Reference, Queen has allowed a completion percentage of over 75% in each of his first 3 seasons when targeted. The Ravens handed trade deadline pickup Roquan Smith a 5-year extension with 100.
Don't talk about Roquan, man. I don't know why we traded him. Don't talk about that. That's sad. And we could have gotten. I don't know why we only got that. That's kind of disrespectful. Roquan could be an X factor in Madden. He could be next season or 2.
$1 million. 2022 second rounder David Ojabo is going to enjoy a bigger role. Plus, Baltimore found a potential steal in Clemson's Jonathan Simpson with the number 86 in this year's draft. Throw in the presence of the underrated Tyus Bowser, and Baltimore has more than enough.
Patrick Queen is a linebacker. In 27 games, he has 5 sacks as of when they show this game. I want you guys to know this. As of when they showed the game that they're showing on screen right now, 27 games, he had 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries.
And because he is on a rookie deal, cutting Queen would cost pennies in dead cap money.
True.
What L. Collins, the Bengals.
True. I mean,
on a 3-year deal with $21 million in 2022 free agency, following his release from the Dallas Cowboys. Collins was one of 3 new starters the Bengals added to the O-line, along with Ted Karras and Alex Kappa. But Collins had a forgettable first year in Cincinnati, allowing 5.
But is that I get it. He might have not had the best first year, but is that enough? If you have a bad first year, is that enough?
Sacks while committing a whopping 8 penalties. Collins is now expendable, and the reigning AFC runner-ups could save just over $7.7 million in 2023 if they cut Collins.
I don't think they should, because it's only been 1 year. He's only spent 1 year in Cincinnati. So if he has another year, if next year he has a bad year, they might think about it. But I feel like they should give him that next year to think about it.
With another $7 million in savings against the cap in 2024. Seems like a pretty logical move to cut a guy who is merely a backup on this stacked Cincinnati roster. Kendrick Bourne, the speedy wide receiver who's entering the final season of a 3-year, $15 million pact he re-signed with the New England Patriots back in 2021. Many actually thought that Bourne would be released earlier this offseason. But Bill Belichick was content to watch Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers leave for greener pastures free agency. So, for now at least, Bourne is still on the roster. Bourne had a career year for the Pats in 2021, recording 55 receptions for 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. But his numbers dropped big time in 2022, hauling in just 35 catches for 434 yards and 1 touchdown. Cutting Bourne's...
But then again, in that year, the year that he had last year, or this year, whatever you want to say it, he didn't have the best quarterback. I want that to be known.
Saves the Patriots a cool $5.455 million, considering they have 2023 free agent signing Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, they have Juju.
Speedster Tyquan Thornton, rookie Keyshawn Butte, and veteran tight end Hunter Henry. I think they're more than set on pass catching options. Pretty safe to say that the Patriots.
And if you look up Hunter Henry, Google's just like, why are you searching? I'm assuming Google's probably just thinking right now, E-Price, why are you just searching up so many NFL players? But if you search up Hunter Henry, he's only 28, but that's pretty old. His career, though, he's been pretty good for a tight end. His young is 59. In 2022, when basically every single receiver had a down year, he did too. He only had 41 receptions for 509 yards, 12.4 average. Young, 39. He had 2 touchdowns, only 2 touchdowns. But last year, when he had good quarterback play, when Mac Jones was actually there almost the entire season and was playing good, when Mac Jones was playing good, he had 50 receptions, 603 yards, average was 12.1, Young was 35, and there was 9 touchdowns. In his career, he has 287 receptions, 3,434 yards, 12 average, 59 Young, and 32 touchdowns. So, I don't think that Mac Jones should have a better
Patriots really don't need Bourne anymore. He's expendable now. Bourne should be keen on finding a bigger role elsewhere, which is why this seems like one of the more likely roster cuts we can expect to see over the next few months. Dwayne Brown. We were surprised when the New York Jets passed on the opportunity to address the offensive line in round 1, and instead of giving Aaron Rodgers more help up front, the Jets used their first-round pick on Iowa State edge rusher Will McDonald IV.
Okay, guys, I went to an Iowa State game when Will McDonald was there, and, he's good, but should he really be picked in the first round on a team? I get it. He might have a really good rookie year, but he's either gonna be really good or really bad. Like, there's a big chance that he might get cut. Like, honestly, there's a big chance that he will get cut.
The Jets will roll into 2023 with the injury-prone Mekhi Becton and a 38-year-old Dwayne Brown as their starting offensive tackles. But we're still skeptical that the Jets are actually serious about starting Brown at tackle again, especially when you consider the fact that the Jets could save $9.705 million in cap space if they just cut the 5-time Pro Bowler. PFF graded Brown at just 57.8 in 2022, which shows he is merely average and a very replaceable player at this point in his career. So, if you're the Jets, why wouldn't you cut a past his prime veteran and open up all that cap room to address other needs? Here's a crazy idea. What about cutting Brown and reuniting Rodgers and David Bakhtiari by trading for the latter?
Okay, guys, TPS, if you're gonna watch this video, I have one thing to tell you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys something, okay? And this is honest. David Bakhtiari is past his prime, and Aaron Rodgers, the Jets have spent way too much money because the Jets only have gotten like 10 players that Aaron Rodgers wanted. I'm kidding. That's it. But Aaron Rodgers wanted so many things, and the Jets have gotten him a lot of things that they need. But if you think about it, Aaron Rodgers is 40, so, his top receivers, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, I know they're real good, They're really good, but Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime. Like, he's still a really, really great NFL player. Don't get me wrong, but he isn't like consistent. One game he plays like a Hall of Famer for sure, and then the next game he has like 200 barely yards and like 1 touchdown or 1 or 2 touchdowns. Corey Davis.
After a career year with the Tennessee Titans in 2020, the 6'3" wideout signed a 3-year deal with the Jets worth $37.5 million in 2021 free agency. Awful quarterback play has not helped by any means, but Davis just hasn't produced in Gotham whatsoever. Through his first 2 seasons as a Jet, Davis had 66 total receptions for 1,028 yards and 6 touchdowns. So much for being the 1,000-yard receiving threat we saw in Music City. Davis is entering the final year of his contract.
But in Music City. Okay, in Tennessee, though, he had really good quarterback. Well, in that when he had, I wouldn't say he had the best, but he had the worst that he has in Jets. But he has Aaron Rodgers now. They had got Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is ever hurt, they should start Mac White. No questions asked. Zach Wilson should be the third string. I mean, it's crazy to say that he was once the second overall pick like 2 years ago, and now I want him to be the third string. But just roll with it, okay?
Targets in 2023, even with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. 2022 Offensive Rookie of the Year Garrett Wilson will be the go-to receiver going forward. That is a given. The Jets also brought aboard 2 of Rodgers' old Green Bay pals in Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb. Next, Chief speedster Mecole Hardman, who was added in free agency, should also make an impact on that offense. Cutting the seldom used Davis saves the Jets $10.5 million in cap space. That would open up a lot of room to add additional impact players to help a team that is suddenly in win-now mode. Don't you think? Jerry Hughes. After a 9-year run with the Buffalo Bills, Hughes signed a 2-year deal with the Houston Texans in 2022 worth $10 million. The veteran edge rusher turned back the clock and racked up 9 sacks for Houston last season, his highest total since 2014. But considering he's now entering his age 35 season, along with the fact he played just 59% of the team's defensive snaps in 2023, regression seems inevitable. There is just no way a rotational player in his mid-30s gets that close to double-digit sacks again. And let's not forget that Houston grabbed Alabama edge rusher Will Anderson Jr. at number 3 overall in the April draft, making Hughes even more expendable. Cutting Hughes would save Houston $3.5 million in free agency, while opening the door for Anderson Jr. and other youngsters to take on more playing time. We're not saying the Texans absolutely should release Hughes, but a team in rebuilding mode does have good reason to cut ties now and focus on developing their younger defensive linemen. Malik Willis. The Tennessee Titans selected the Liberty dual threat signal caller in round 3 at number 86 overall a year ago. At the time, it felt like excellent value, since some projected Willis to be a late first or early second round pick. But the Titans obviously did not like what they saw in Willis during his rookie year. He saw 8 game appearances and made 3 starts, barely completing over half his pass attempts for 276 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 picks. The Titans had such little faith in Willis that even with Ryan Tannehill out for the year, they rolled with Josh Dobbs and his 1 career start in their winner-go-home game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 18. And in case you missed it, the Titans got great value by trading up and snagging Kentucky Wildcats quarterback Will Levis with the number 33 selection in this summer's draft. Tannehill is entering...
Will Levis... I mean, that just shows that they have no faith in someone that they just selected in last year's draft. That just shows they have no faith.
So the situation is perfectly set up for Tennessee to transition over to Levis in 2024. Look, add everything up, and you can probably see where we're going with this. There obviously is not a need for the Titans to keep Willis around, and they haven't really made it a secret either. If starting Dobbs over him wasn't already the writing on the wall, drafting Levis was. The Titans may as well give Willis the fresh start he deserves. Maybe he finds his footing and succeeds in a new system, like Tannehill did after leaving the Miami Dolphins. If Tannehill struggles or gets injured again, it'll be Levis' time to shine. They simply don't have much use for Willis heading into 2023, so don't at all be stunned if he's one of the next notable players to get tossed back into the free agent market before training camp. But which other big-name NFL players could get cut with the draft now over? Let us know in the comments section.
Everyone can get cut. It's just something... Almost every NFL player, there's a chance, there could be a very small chance that they're going to get cut. But there's a chance. I mean, I'm just being for real. Don't be mad. I'm just being for real, okay, guys? I'm just being for real.